Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right? You're praying, you're being kind, you're working hard, but your life still feels like a total mess? Like everyone else got the map to the treasure, and you just got dropped in the middle of a desert with no water and no directions. That feeling of being ghosted by life is real. It's heavy. And today, I want to tell you about a girl named Nora who was living in that exact desert. But I also want to show you how she used a 4,000-year-old blueprint from one of the most exceptional women in our Islamic history to find her way out. If you feel like you're running in circles and getting nowhere, then this is for you. Meet Nora. Nora was 27, and on paper, she was successful. She had a job in the city, she had a nice apartment, and for 3 years, she had a plan. That plan had a name, a face, and a wedding date. She thought she was building a future. She thought she was safe. But then the plan shattered. In one single month, the relationship ended, her father was diagnosed with a chronic illness, and the friend group she thought was her family suddenly went quiet. You know that silence. The kind where you realize people were only there for the happy Nora, not the struggling Nora. Suddenly, Nora wasn't the girl with the bright future. She was the girl sitting in a quiet apartment, staring at a stack of medical bills and a phone that didn't ring. She felt abandoned. Not just by people, but in her darkest moments, she felt like she was being ignored by the one thing she held on to, her faith. She'd cry in her prayers saying, "Ya Allah, I stayed away from the haram. I worked so hard. Why am I sitting here alone in the dark while the people who don't even care about you are thriving? Why is my life a desert?" One night, Nora was at her absolute limit. She was looking at her reflection, puffy eyes, tired skin, and she felt this urge to just give up. She picked up a book of Sirah, biography of our beloved Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, not because she wanted to learn about Islamic history at that particular point of time, but because she was desperate for a distraction. She landed on the beautiful story about Hajra alayhi salam, and for the first time, she didn't read it like a religious story. She just read it so she can distract her mind from her daily life struggles. She pictured Hajra alayhi salam standing in the middle of the actual, literal desert, with no shade, no water, just rocks and heat around, and she watched Ibrahim alayhi salam walk away. Nora felt that feeling of watching someone you love walk away while you're left with absolute nothing. Hajra alayhi salam ran after him. She asked, "Who are you leaving us to?" He didn't answer. She asked again, and again there was nothing but silence. Then Hajra alayhi salam asked the ultimate question, "Did Allah command you to do this?" Ibrahim alayhi salam said yes. And Hajra alayhi salam's response wasn't why or how will I survive. She simply said, "Then Allah will not let us be lost." Nora stopped breathing for a second. She realized that Hajra alayhi salam wasn't abandoned in the desert, she was placed there. And Nora realized that maybe her loneliness, her father's illness, and her broken engagement weren't accidents. Maybe she was placed in this desert because Allah was about to do something for her that couldn't happen in a crowded, happy life. Your desert isn't a mistake. It's a sacred isolation. Sometimes Allah clears the room because He wants you to realize that He is the only one who never leaves. But Nora noticed something else. Hajra alayhi salam didn't just sit on a rock and wait for a miracle. Her baby, Ismail alayhi salam, started crying. He was thirsty. He was dying. Hajra alayhi salam felt that panic. Nora felt it too. That panic when your bills are crying, your career is dying, and your heart is thirsty. What did Hajra alayhi salam do? She ran. She climbed Mount Safa, looking for help. Nothing. She ran down into the valley, her heart racing, and climbed Mount Marwa. Nothing. She did this 7 times, literally 7 times.
Nora looked at her own life. Her sa'i was the daily grind. It was the hundreds of job applications she sent out while her father slept. It was the hours she spent at the hospital. It was the way she kept her hijab on and her head high even when the aunties whispered about her being single and struggling. She realized that Hajra alayhi salam was terrified every time she ran. She wasn't a superhero, she was a mother, but she ran anyway. She ran because she had tawakkul on Allah. Tawakkul isn't waiting, it's working while your heart is at peace. You don't need to see the water to keep running the race. You just need to know that Allah is watching the effort. Nora started to change her mindset. She kept working, but she stopped panicking. She started saying, "I'm doing my 7 laps, Ya Allah. I'm doing my part. The rest is on you."
After the 7th lap, Hajra alayhi salam was tired. She had no more strength. She went back to her baby, probably expecting the worst. But help didn't come from the mountains she was staring at. It didn't come from a caravan on the horizon. The angel Jibril alayhi salam struck the ground right under the baby's feet. The water, Zamzam, began to gush out. It came from the very place where the pain was. It came from the ground she had been sitting on the whole time. Nora sat back and cried. She realized she had been staring at the mountains too. She thought her help would come from a new man, or a different city, or a huge lottery win. She was looking out there. But then she looked at what was right in front of her. Her father's illness had forced her to learn about nutrition and holistic health to help him. She had become so good at it that she started sharing her tips online. She didn't think anything of it. She was just running her laps. But while she was running, her Zamzam was bubbling up right under her feet. A health organization saw her work and offered her a role as a lead consultant, a job that paid triple her old salary and allowed her to work from home and care for her father. The miracle didn't come from the man who left her. It came from the struggle she was forced to endure. Allah doesn't always bring the solution from the places you are exhausted by. He brings the Zamzam from the ground beneath your current burden. Nora isn't the same girl anymore. When she looks back at her desert, she doesn't see a place of suffering, she sees a place of training. Righteous women like Hajra alayhi salam aren't just characters in a story, they are blueprints. They show us that modern challenges, loneliness, financial stress, being misunderstood, are just different versions of the same desert. Nora learned that navigating life with grace doesn't mean you don't cry. It means that while you're crying, you're still saying, "He will not let me be lost." She found a community of people who actually loved her for her soul. She found a strength she never knew she had. And eventually, she found a man who didn't just want a bride, but who wanted a woman who had been through the fire and came out smelling like roses. So, if you're sitting where Nora was, if your plan has shattered and you feel like you're running between Safa and Marwa and your throat is dry, listen to me. You are not lost. You are being positioned. Allah is watching every step you take on that mountain. He sees the blisters on your feet and the hope in your heart. Don't stop running, but also stop obsessing over the horizon. Your Zamzam is coming, and it's likely going to come from the very ground you're standing on right now. Exceptional women aren't the ones who never fall. They're the ones who, even when they're in the middle of a desert, believe that the one who created the water hasn't forgotten them. If you're in your sa'i right now, if you're just trying to get through the day, drop a heart in the comments. Let's remind each other that the water is coming. And if this story gave you a little bit of strength, subscribe and join our sisterhood. We're all just walking each other home. Trust the struggle, trust the blueprint, trust the author. Allah Hafiz.